Yo, listen up, here's a story about a little knight that lives in a green world, and all day and all night and everything he sees is just green like him. Inside and outside, green his chapel with a green new axe and a green horse, and everything is green for him and himself. His body wanders around 'cause he ain't got no head. It got chopped off. He's green, if you see him you'll die. He's the Green Knight, if you see him you'll die. He's the Green Knight, if you see him you'll die. He's the Green Knight, if you see him you'll die. Yo, I'm just dropping bangers out here. If anybody wants to start a record label with me, hit me up. I got you. So I just got out of the theater. I watched Green Knight, which was a pleasant experience for me. My daughter is out of town for the weekend, staying with some family, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of my downtime and actually go to the movie theaters. I haven't been to the theaters since I saw Tenet at the beginning of the you-know-what, and so now here we are. I just watched the movie, and I have too many things to say about it, so let's just get started. Spoilers ahead. The Green Knight is based on an 800-year-old Arthurian legend about the youngest knight of the Round Table named Sir Gawain. And despite my research, I actually couldn't find the origin of calling somebody green when they're new and unproven. But it makes a lot of sense here, so my headcanon is that this old hyperbole comes from this story, even though it most certainly does not. That aside, the old tale is pretty straightforward. It's a tale of chivalry that all of the knights of King Arthur's court eventually go through at some point. Being the greenest member of the Knights of the Round Table, this kid has some shit to prove. On Christmas Eve, everyone is exchanging stories about how awesome and chivalrous they are, but Gawain is just sitting there like, yeah, this one time I was at the stables and this girl was offering to make out with me, and I said no, and you know what, you just had to be there, I guess. Meanwhile, Lancelot's over here like, yo, who invited this rookie to our Christmas party? He's so lame. And Merlin's like, yo, chill, that's Arthur's nephew, we gotta include him. Didn't you see my email? And Lancelot's like, no, sorry, I was upstairs with Guinevere. She was giving me a tour of Camelot. And Merlin's like, bro, I'm a wizard, I saw you hitting that. And Lancelot's like, dude, that's not cool, you're not supposed to watch, that's disgusting. I did not give consent for that, you old creepy fart. Get out of my face. And right then and there, the doors burst open and in walks the pagan version of Father Christmas. And he's holding a branch of holly and he's like, you darn Christians, you came into my home and you committed genocide on the tribes and you replaced our rituals with your Christianized version of it and you participated in cultural erasure. So I'm here and I'm going to show you the real meaning of Christmas. Christmas ain't about peppermint schnapps or eggnog or baby Jesus. It's about beheading each other and winning exchanges. Who wants to celebrate with me by giving my neck a good old hacking? And Gawain's like, this is my moment. I finally get to do something glorious and these Knights of the Round Table will respect me and all the girls will love me. And he raises his hand, he's like, I shall accept your challenge, good sir. And he goes up to the guy, who by the way is the Green Knight. I don't think I said that part yet. And the Green Knight is like, I like this kid, he gets it, he's woke. Here kid, cut my head off. And Gawain chops his head off and everyone's like, yeah, get it my dude, you're one of us now. But then the body of the Green Knight gets up and he puts his head back on and he's like, hey, good swing kid, next year it's my turn. And Gawain's like, wait, what? And the knight's like, yeah, but don't worry about it, man, here, have my axe. And he walks away off into the distance and he's like, meet me at the Green Chapel next Christmas, you come to my place, I got you. And for the next 365 days, Gawain's like, shit, man, I'm screwed, I'm gonna die. Shit, why did I say yes to this brutal arcane ritual? It has no place in modern holiday festivities. This is worse than the Hallmark movie on Christmas. I can't stand this. This is worse than seeing my grandparents. I hate this. I don't want to die. I don't want to go here, but shit, I already said yes. Well, I cut his head off, so I guess that means he can cut my head off. Fuck. And then the very next Christmas, he gives the Green Knight his heart, or offers his head rather. And the Green Knight is like, yeah, but you know what, kid? I invite a lot of people to my Christmas parties and nobody ever wants to come. They all want to cut my head off, but when the time comes for me to cut theirs off, they never come around. Tell you what, in the spirit of Christmas, I will reward you for having come over, because it's time for me to rethink my conservative ideas about winter solstice. Maybe I'm just clinging to an idea of Christmas that's brutal and wrong and outdated. Through your chivalry and your willingness to come here, you've taught this old dog some new tricks. I will let you live, because the real meaning of Christmas is the friends that we made along the way. Also, I'm your mom. Come home. I made pie. Now it's at this point in the video that most of you guys will drop off and turn off my video. So maybe instead of doing that, you stick around because the good part hasn't even come up yet. But if you're gonna leave, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. It helps a lot. And just for brevity's sake, I was really focusing on giving the general overview of the story. I wasn't really focused on historical accuracy here, so you can find other videos that better go into detail about the general story and all of the things that happened to Gawain along the way, but there's the general gist of it. Basically, he cuts off the Green Knight's head to prove himself, and then the Green Knight is like, okay, you get to live in this glory for a year, but next year you come to my chapel and I'm going to kill you. And instead of saying no or screw that, he faces his death like a man, and in so doing, he grows up, and the Green Knight recognizes that, and he lets him live. The end. It's a story about honoring your word and coming through when you make a promise. It's about paying the consequences for your actions and abiding by the 5 values of knighthood. As with all Arthurian legends, you can kind of look at them in the context of the time in which they were written and sort of see the propaganda behind them, but they're nonetheless important and teach good moral lessons. Now flash forward 1,000 years. It's the year 2021. David Lowery, director of Ain't Them Body Saints, decides to retell this ancient legend in the most A24 way possible, changing a few things around and incorporating new events into Gawain's travels to touch on a lot of interesting topics. The movie of the same name is spilling over with meaning and richness and is packed with a ton of different themes. It addresses ideas of growing up, responsibility, economic disparity, finding one's place in the world, controlling destiny, and a million other things that a million other people will talk about in their videos. But what stood out to me is how it presented the relationship between mankind and nature, and that's what I want to talk about today. And what? You want them to like and subscribe my video? Please, okay, I'll tell them. Okay, so the Green Knight just walked in. He said if you don't like and sub this video, he's gonna cut my head off. Quick, hit the like button. Did you do it? Okay, well, my head is still on my shoulders, so you must have done it. So I'll keep going and assume that you are chivalrous enough to have liked and subbed when I put my trust in you to do that. And if you didn't, I'll see you next Christmas. All right, where was I? Yes, nature. But before I get into that, I want to tell you a little bit about how I watch movies and how I read ambiguous endings. Typically, I see a cliffhanger coming a mile away. That's not to brag, it's just to say I try to tune into the message of the movie early on in my viewing, so that when a cliffhanger comes, I'm actually pretty satisfied with it. That is to say, as long as I understand why they made the cliffhanger. In all the videos out there about this film and other open-ended movies, you typically get a lot of people trying to come up with theories about what happens next, and I don't really like to get in on that. Because if the director did their job right, the ending really isn't open to interpretation. It's usually either clear as day what happens next, or it's left ambiguous as a call to action to the audience to act on whatever theme that they took away from the film. Like when I watched Inception, for example, I didn't sit there and think, oh, he's still in a dream, because that's not really the point. The point was that Cobb had overcome the guilt of his wife's tragic death and chooses to be present in his own reality. Fuck the totem. See, bet you didn't think you were gonna get a double feature here, did ya? See what happens when you sub to my channel? You get 2 for 1s. And look, I have the utmost respect for people who do continue to try and interpret art over the years and try to understand what the meaning is for them. Because what I take away from the movie should not always be what you take away from the movie. We can both love and appreciate the same film for different reasons, because we bring our own meaning to a movie when we watch it. So when I say that this open ending on The Green Knight feels appropriate and meaningful, you can disagree with me. I still love you. Your relationship with the film is your thing, and I'm just sharing mine. And my thing with this movie is that it really sets up a conversation about how man's destructiveness takes a violent toll on nature, and nature will one day strike back with equal ferocity. The character of the Green Knight is adapted as being a literal tree man, foregoing subtlety and instead placing environmentalism at the heart of the conflict in this film. Most of the film actually takes place in nature. In the first act of the film, we see a lot of lumberers tearing down trees, leaving desolate valleys where luscious forests once stood. When Gawain traverses into the second act of the film, he comes across a scorched battlefield where nothing survived, no humans or vegetation. The only thing left standing is a scavenger who ends up robbing him and stealing everything he owns. He's left under a tree tied up, and then there's this breathtaking fleeting 360 pan shot that briefly shows Gawain as this tied up skeleton left to rot under the tree as vegetation is restored to the forest, as if to say he could die here and now and nature would not care. In fact, when he arrives at the Lord's castle, who goes unnamed in the film, the lady of the manor who attempts to seduce him as a test of his chivalry goes on a wonderful monologue about the Green Knight. She talks about his color and states how green is the color of nature and will always overcome man in the end. Nature will outlast our bodies, our stories, our love, our relationships, and our honor. Gawain does everything he does in order to have honor, but in the end, when he's kneeling beneath the Green Knight's axe, he sees that the honor he's fighting for is just a part of a system that will ultimately lead to more destruction and damage. And it's only through self-sacrifice and acting against our natural inclinations as a species that we can end the fruitless system of destruction. But it won't be easy. It'll hurt. Honor is by definition the act of showing high respect and great esteem for something. And if that's true, then honor does not belong to a king or a country. It should be devoted to nature in her beauty and the magic that she provides. When you see it this way, then the open ending isn't about whether the knight lets Gawain live or kills him. It's actually a call to action. It's telling us to choose whether we will go forth to honor nature or continue to make the same old mistakes that brought us here in the first place. Mistakes that have been motivated by hubris and glory. The Green Knight matters because it unpacks the traditional chivalric code and challenges us to conduct ourselves in honor of our planet and the many things that it has to offer us. It asks us to act in service not to our round tables or our own greatness, but instead to the earth, who will outlast all of our actions. The planet will continue to go on spinning and life will always find a way, unplotting and unbiased and uncaring of the walls that we build or the castles we use to defend our destructive ways of life. We just have to consider for ourselves whether we want to be a part of the future of this planet or not. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and if you did like and subscribe, thank you so much, and if you haven't, now's your last chance, because if you don't, maybe the planet will stop spinning or something, and the Green Knight will come for you, and it will ask you, were you brave, and were you honorable, and were you chivalrous, and also, did you like the Media Matters channel, and did you subscribe to it? And if your answer is no, you might get your head chopped off. So, just saying, I'm looking out for you here. Just make sure you like and subscribe. Here's a couple other videos that you might like if you liked this one. I make content like this all the time, so yeah, like I said, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.